and welcome to Devils United, the Spurs preview. As you can see, Maisie hasn't put a lot of weight on and dropped her voice. She's not here tonight, and it is just me and Chloe deputising. But I'm sure she'll keep an eye on me, so fingers crossed I'll get good marks. How are you doing, Chloe?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's good to be back on, and obviously we miss you, Maisie.
Yeah, we definitely do. I've just about cheered up, recovered from what happened yesterday. But I'm sure we'll get into that. Obviously, thanks for everyone who's been building up in the comments before we get into it. As I say now, it's just me and Chloe tonight, and yeah, hope you're well, mate. And obviously, Reese. Hope it'll be a great show. No pressure there. And obviously, there Reese references a hashtag of the Flowers of Manchester. Now, there's a lot of obviously Man United fans here in the chat, but anyone who maybe doesn't know the history of it, obviously, what's the significance of today, Chloe?
So today is the 65-year anniversary of the Munich air disaster, in which we lost 8 players: Jeff Ben, Roger Bryan, Eddie Coleman, Duncan Edwards, Mark Jones, and David Penn, Tommy Taylor, and Billy Whelan. We also lost, in that was a few journalists: Walter Crickmer, Tom Curry, and Bert Waller, as well as a lot more journalists. Obviously, that were on board on that flight in Munich, and then obviously I think it was a few years later that Matt Busby obviously passed away as well. Matt Busby obviously died in 1994, but it was down to injuries from the Munich air disaster. So the hashtag of Flowers of Manchester is based on the Flowers of Manchester song, which we both heard at the game yesterday when it got played out and when we did a minute's silence. And today there was a minute's silence held at Old Trafford with both club managers in terms of Eric Ten Hag and Mark Skinner, and club captains Harry Maguire and Katie Zellum both putting roses down and wreaths down at the Munich spot where it's always been held for the past, obviously, 65 years. So I remember it from, I always get told this story whenever it happens, that my granddad was 7 years old. His birthday was the day after, on the 7th, and he was turning 7 the day after it happened. So I always remember it with my granddad's birthday, which is tomorrow. So it's always a big significant thing for Man United fans and for Bayern Munich fans, because I don't know if anyone saw, but Bayern Munich actually acknowledged it today, like they always do every year. And it just resembles how close we are with Bayern Munich. And it just shows that the football community can support one another in times like this. And if you don't know much about the Munich air disaster, just type in on Google about it, read up on it. And one of my friends got this programme which resembles obviously all about Munich and tells everything about it in there. So if you were lucky enough to go to Old Trafford last week, you would have got one of them programmes. But yeah, today's 65 years since it happened, and it's obviously, it still lives on. We remember him we will always remember him. It was 8 of the first team, 8 of the starting 11 that passed away, and we will always call them the Busby Babes, and that's how they will always be remembered.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, as Maisie's jumped in there, God, you guys, she's allowed a day off, you know. No, it was she's just jumped in, obviously put it out that she's just having today off, so she's asked us to pick it up because we want to, think of you guys of content. I mean, I think it's important also to mention as well, no one, goes to play a game of football and doesn't expect to go home, whatever generation you're in, whenever it was. And I believe, obviously my knowledge is mainly from the women's game. And but I think I have learned from osmosis that like the youth courage success that was on the shirts last year sort of was pioneered mainly. I know it was already there a little bit, but mainly pioneered by Matt Busby, and the style of play, the attacking football style of play was pioneered by him. So obviously we are you're remembering obviously an event that happened, but you're also remembering a very famous and very good team, and someone who you would probably say is the father of the club, just as you might say that Bill Shankly would be the father of Liverpool, that Vince Lombardi would be the father of the Green Bay Packers. Sometimes there's specific people that that obviously that define or really, and obviously you'd say United's been lucky to have two, and say it was Matt Busby in the 50s, and obviously Alex Ferguson late 80s, early 90s, all the way through to the early 90s, that really did define what Man United is, and what Man United was, and what Man United hopefully will be again, both in the men's and the women's section. Obviously Vincent as well. Nice to see you, mate. It's important. I think we noticed yesterday that I think there's some specialised flags that are specifically mentioned where they're from as well that were up at LSV yesterday, and I did notice there was a gentleman with Dudley on it.
They always whenever it's the home game for the Munich, the last one, they always get these special flags. And they bought some down to the Lee Sports Village yesterday, and there's Salford, Yorkshire, and Dudley, obviously for Duncan Edwards, who was probably the most. He would have been the top goal scorer if he had survived. He was 21. He had already got 118 caps, I think it was. Let me just check. One minute. Yeah, he had already got like 100 and something caps for 177 appearances, 21 goals, and by the age of 21 he had already made 18 England caps. So he would have probably gone on to be one of the biggest and successful Englishmen to this date.
Yeah, this is it. And obviously Reece there again, obviously big knowledgeable United fan as well, saying it built on 5 consecutive youth groups in a row. And he also helped save United as a proper great man. So obviously, like anything, you look backwards, you look forwards. We made that recommendation. We looked at it yesterday on the pitch as well as what happened today. And obviously, unfortunately, though I feel it was coming, I'll get your view now on the game yesterday against Everton, where, to be honest, it looked like that our luck ran out, really, even though we didn't like we were going to lose it. What's your view on the game yesterday?
We should have won. We shouldn't have come away with a draw. It should have been that we won that game. We had the chances. The stats don't explain themselves. We had 25 shots yesterday, and it's like we couldn't finish it. We couldn't put it in the back of the net. And for me, we got a point. A point's a point, but we dropped 2 points. And with them 2 drop points, we are now second. Yeah. And people, we can say, we're in the Champions League spot, and we're happy with that. But we want to win. If we win the league, we don't have to go through the qualifying rounds. Yeah. We get second and third, we have to go through the qualifying rounds. And that makes the difference. And this getting stupid draws and getting silly draws when it's not needed, and we know we can beat these teams, it's going to cost us points. It's going to cost us goal difference. It's going to cost us potentially our position in the. And for me, we needed to have them opportunities in the game. We needed to score them opportunities. I don't know whether what happened on the transfer window in January.
Yeah.
I don't know if what happened then affected it for that week, because of Leslie, what was going on with Leslie and stuff, and don't know whether that impacted it. But we shouldn't let stuff that happens on the TV, that happens at other clubs, affect us. Just get on with it. Leslie's not left. She's staying till at least summer. Get on with the game. Focus on the game. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to anything else. Just focus on the game. Focus on what you're doing at training, and that should have been the focus. And it probably was, but obviously it got a lot of it last week was about Leslie. It was all about that, and why is Leslie not gone? Why have we not got the money for her? And it shouldn't be about that. It should be focused on the game against Everton, and hopefully it was. But during the game, Leslie was off. I could see that she wasn't at her best. She wasn't finishing. She was doing it. She was getting in the box. The balls weren't getting to her in some places. But when the ball did come to her, it wasn't hitting the back of the net. And it happened a few times. It happened with Katie Zellum and Leah and Ella Toon. And these are these chances that are going to cost us points, that are going to cost us goal difference. And Everton had some chances as well where they could have took the lead. And seeing what Reece has put there in honouring Leah, for me, two of the best.
But
I would say Hannah Blundell.
I was about to say the same thing. She made a couple of mistakes. One of them were going to really cost us because it was almost 1-on-1. But still, she turned up. Yeah,
exactly. And for me, the two wingers, Hannah and Honor, both worked really well. Leah was good again. Hi, Robert.
Yeah.
The wingers worked well. Leah worked well. Lucia did when she was on, but again, she couldn't finish. The balls just a lot of the time when we had the ball, instead of passing on the outside, they were going in, and it was like, why are you going in? Instead of Honor was on one side where she was 3 players, but they were passing to the other side where Leah was surrounded or Hannah was surrounded, and then it was like you could hear a lot of us shout, pass it to Honor, pass it to Honor. And Honor had loads of space to pass it, but we just didn't do it. And by the time we did do it, all of Everton were back and the box was full, or they did the offside track. And we had a lot of offsides. And for me, I think the game changed when Nikita Paris and Rachel Williams came on.
Yeah.
Because we got the pace from Nikita because she is quick down the wing, and we got Rachel Williams was pushing more forward instead of going inside the areas. She pushed a lot more forward in terms of passing and stuff like that, and that's what we want to see as Manchester United. We see it a lot in the men's game, passing back to the keeper, and for me, we need it more forward. We're not passing back to the keeper just for them to then kick it up the field. Get it forward, make attacks, and get it in. And we could have won 2-3-0 for that. For me, we could have won that, but we just didn't finish. We just didn't finish it. And for me, that's the disappointment bit. And another thing is, I know Andy will jump on this in a minute, but substitutions. 2 substitutions got made. The Everton side made 5. So for me, it's why did we only make 2 substitutions when Martha Thomas had her United shirt ready on, but didn't on the pitch?
Yeah.
Ball was warming up.
Yeah.
4 was warming up. All of our players were warming up, but we only used Nikita and Rachel Williams. And for me, we needed a lot. We needed a lot more. Katie Zellum got tackled in the first half, and she went down. She looked like she was in pain in the first half, but obviously carried on. Leah, I know they took Leah off and Lucia, but it's like other players could have come off at least for a rest because of what because of the games we've now got coming up, plus internationals. And the England squad is going to be announced tomorrow at 4 p.m. So that's where we're going to find out if any of our United girls have made the squad. And Serena was at that match yesterday. And for me, if I was Serena, who would I bring from United? Like, who would you pick after that game? It would be interesting seeing the comments. Who would you bring from, if you were in Serena's position after the United game yesterday? What players you take from both Everton and from Manchester United? Because I have some players from Everton that I would take, and some from United, but not all from United.
Yeah, I mean, there's more people that know more about the opposition players than I do. I've been a bit lax on watching the opposition teams, but I know a very good friend of mine who was next to me yesterday was saying, almost as a warning, park, just park, because she was the only one who kind of looked like any kind of, I know she's a City reject, but she looked like anybody, any kind of threat, really. I mean, Izzy Christiansen is just a younger, prettier version of Steph Houghton. She comes on and doesn't do anything. She's on the twilight of her career, but I think Park's quite a threat.
Yeah, Jess Park is definitely a threat, and she's definitely one to watch. And for me, next year or next season, should I say, City either keep her or she's going, because she deserves to be in a top team, and she deserves to be at Everton because she's getting game time. She's in the starting 11 or every time, and I can't see her being in that starting 11 at City. So for me, if I was picking anyone from Everton to go to England camp, it would be Jess Park and it would be Gabby George, because Gabby played really well yesterday.
I mean, I think, to be honest,
way.
Yeah, I mean, we'll maybe touch about England, and I'll get into my main issue about the game. But I think to be honest, Serena, obviously, she stayed quite static during the tournament. She has explored other people outside of tournaments. I don't know. I have my own issues with Katie Zellum. I put that clear, but I don't kind of see how you can essentially call somebody up to carry the handbag, to carry the bags, and not play them for that long. So I think she needs to decide to either not call her up and say, right, she's not good enough, or to actually play her. It's just a bit weird, unless, and I want to say this, we're very much with a tongue in my cheek a little bit, I suppose, but unless, she is some sort of guru of leadership, and actually she does add a heck of a lot in training camp. She sort of stands there, but I doubt it, because Leah Williamson is a captain. I mean, I don't know if you could rattle through in your head now. How many captains for their clubs have you got for England? So you got Leah Williamson, Katie Zellum.
You got the Katie. Who's the captain for Everton?
Izzy Christiansen took the helm when she came on, so it was Gabby George, Izzy Christiansen.
So Izzy, but Izzy won't. I don't think Izzy will play. No. Gabby George.
Yeah. So she's got a leadership kind of thing.
You would say if Jordan Nobbs goes, she is a leadership. She's one of the experienced ones.
Yeah.
Lucy Bond's experience. I think she might be in England. She is probably a captain. Millie Bright as well.
So the point is that they've got the leaders there. They've got the leadership there. So that's unlikely that she's going to bring an extra amount. But, I think, to be honest, what Serena probably would have seen yesterday, she didn't like, I'm sure. I think the main issue that I had about yesterday was that it was so strange the way we were making things so much complicated. We didn't start really taking any shots until the first sort of 20 minutes. We were trying to walk it in the net. Now, I know the Skinner's done that in the past, but it was on steroids yesterday. And, and it was very, very complicated. I use the example of, like, when you learn Spanish, when you first start, you essentially think you're saying, I like oranges. But if to a Spaniard, what you're saying is oranges are pleasing to me, like, they'd vaguely get what you mean, but it's obviously not right. I kind of felt that's how complicated Skinner was. Instead of just going, quite simple, he was turning everything into a double backflip, 8 triangle, this, that, and the other. And I just don't see, what's going on really. I think there's a few issues that I would say that permeate through Man United at the moment. I'm not going to name who it is, but there is a core group of people that do talk to Martin Ho and do sort of say the odd word to Skinner, because they know that we are, essentially, if you want a better word, with the ultras, or the people who are the most invested. And I remember, and I heard that one of the particular people was saying to Martin, you should have made more subs. And then out of her earshot, I will say it's a woman, but that's about as far as I'm going to go. He said, "You don't know anything about football," when he walked off, and that kind of like closed rank mentality, that lack of professionalism, you would normally imagine would be going from a management team who are under pressure and who are not performing. But obviously we are performing. I mean, technically it was a draw, not a loss. Technically, as you pointed out, if we had this conversation in, the 6th of August instead of the 6th of February last year, we'd be thinking, bloody hell, we're second. We're near that. We're not even considering about winning the league. And we are in a great position. But I think the problem is like Skinner is a very, 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 very difficult man to like, because he doesn't make it easy at all. And what also doesn't help is that there's certain elements of the fan base who are quite faction now. So basically, the guy can't do anything wrong, or the guy is God's gift to management, and that kind of thing. But just to pick up some of the comments as well. Yeah, so basically, Chloe's going to work out her autograph rate. So if you DM her no, I'm only joking. But yeah, she was on TV. I think I probably was as well.
What minute was it on, David Reese? So I can see.
I'm just used to it. I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. It's not a problem. So but yeah, that's good to know. Obviously, Robert here. I thought my night was poor, but Everton was poorer. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, but we kind of contained them. That's what was difficult about it. Like, we contained them. They couldn't break us down, but we just almost like played with them. Like, we just sort of sat there and just like a cat playing with a mouse, and then wondered why we ran out of time to score. I know what your feeling that is.
For me, Everton were poor in the first half, Everton. But in the second half, they kind of come out with a fight of an urgency. And when they brought on, especially when they brought on Hannah Benson, they kind of gelled together a lot more. And for me, I think she's a very important player for Everton. She's one of them that as soon as she comes on, the game changes. And that's what it did. They got more up, the passes got more long and stuff like that. But yeah, we were poor. And I think it was down to not shooting, not getting the crosses in, not passing where needed and where there was space, and also not finishing. And I think that's because of the defending and Gabby George, because Gabby George was marking Leslie, she was marking Leah, she was marking Lucia. And there was just, if you saw Gabby George with a player who had the ball, that ball was gone. And it, for me, that's what kept us away from scoring, was Gabby George for me. And it all depends on the second half for me. Everton were a lot more better than in the first half, and we were kind of average. In some parts we were good in the second half, some we weren't. And again, it's just like I said before, the first half and the second half, they were both the same. We didn't score, we didn't do the finishing, and there were a lot of parts where we should have scored, but we didn't.
I mean, I'll pick up what Ravi said here, and obviously, good evening, Ravi. Question on Paul's Skinner being late again was sort of what Everton made all that. To be honest, I always said a while ago, and to be honest, Chloe's also mentioned about the subs. She got it a little bit this season before I did. I think, Mark, if you need to use a substitution, it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean that the starting 11 was wrong. It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. In the modern game, especially now you've got 5 subs, it's an extra tactical play, and the best managers use them. And I don't know what's worse, making subs so late or making subs Monday morning at about 9 o'clock. The previous week, the opposing manager would know in what order, when they were going to be made, and could practice their defence all week to deal with them. To an extent, I suppose that's the only benefit of Martha Thomas not coming on, because, as you say, he always does that. She always comes on. So maybe the manager was surprised about that. Oh, right, okay, I was expecting Martha to come on, and instead it was Nikita and Rachel Williams. And I also overheard someone mention, and it's a very good point, when we are asking for a 35-year-old to inject pace into the game, you've got to wonder what's going on with the rest of the players as well. And, it's a great point you made about Russo. Is she going through the motions a little bit before the end of the year? Now, is she got one eye out the door? Is she just a little bit, she thought she was about to go, but transfer deadline didn't work out, and she's having to try and refocus now to push for the end of the season? There's just so many variables. We could almost do a separate discussion on that. But I'll try and move it towards Spurs, but I suppose the linking question is, what happened? Why did Everton happen? Was it laziness, complacency, or a mixture of both? And what do you think is going to happen on Sunday if we don't learn from it?
The game against Everton was lack of focus.
Yeah.
In terms of what had happened during that week. In terms of Lesser, I think she now just needs to concentrate for the football until the end of the season. Think about what she wants. If she does want Champions League, think about it, and think about the offers. Think about how much the fans love her, how much they respect her, and just focus on getting us into that Champions League spot, because we've all said we get into Champions League, we keep the best players. We don't get Champions League, we don't keep them. And I think that's why a lot of the players are now waiting for contracts, because they're going to wait to the end of the season to see where we get and then sign. And that for me, that's the worrying part. I would rather know now who we're signing, who we're not. And
yeah, go on.
And I think if this continues into the weekend game, we're going to be worried for Tottenham if this continues. And I think we will win it. I do, but there's that threat and that worry that this was the game. This was our first game of the season, but due to obviously the Queen passing away, it ended up being postponed. So it's now got moved to this weekend, and Bethany England's been added to the squad.
Yep, and we've added Cascanero, okay. But the other two ones, though, I've had a lot of good things about. Jade Riviera isn't available yet, so we've weakened in a way, and they've strengthened. But I'm going to sound like I've swallowed a post on LinkedIn here, but I think it's quite true. I've read before someone says that people don't leave bad jobs; they leave bad bosses. And I think that would be the answer of it, because on paper we hit Champions League, especially if we're not third, say we're second or even first. Nobody's got a reason to leave. Honor should sign. Leslie should sign. If one or both of them leave, and we've made their requirement, we've hit Champions League. Why? Well, playing time? Well, not really. Both of them can play as much as they want. Well, clearly it's maybe because if not, you don't like Skinner, that you might want to play under a different manager or a different style of play. The thing is, we touch it on the pods, we talk about it privately as well. I don't like Skinner. There's a lot of people that don't like Skinner, but it's difficult to hold. It's a difficult thing to hold in you, because you ain't going anywhere till summer, if not for possibly even longer than that. So it's sometimes, we can all vocalize how an utterly awful manager he actually is, but it's hard. I would say for anyone who's like me, who's a skin of skeptic, you know, you have to be careful it doesn't let you spoil the game or spoil your enjoyment of what you're watching, because, you know, it is a lot easier to sing with your chest out. Woke up this morning feeling fine, you know, got Man United on my mind. Skinner's playing the way that United should. Well, I stop it on my mind because he ain't playing the way United should. It's a lot easier to do that. I mean, we'll take Vince's point now without we going too much into it. Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. It's one of those we're not going to know about. You know, is he getting the job done, or are we getting the job done in spite of Mark Skinner? That is the question, really. Because before that, you've got other variables. You've got a lot of injuries. We had less squad depth, and we had the COVID affected season. And to be honest, I don't really know anyone who properly rates him anymore in the fan base that I actually still speak to. I mean, I know you're more in the middle about it, but I do think it's one of those where, and I'll bring you in now, Chloe, where yes, it's good to talk about, but actually, hands up. Sometimes I can let it rock me up a little bit, and I need to keep it down because I need to keep enjoying what I'm watching and not, like it's gonna, sometimes I see the guy and I just get angry. So that's not a good position to be in, is it really? But yeah, I'll let you go, Chloe.
So I always say there's no point of changing halfway through a season to get someone new in, to then go through all the new regime of what they want, to then worry if we're going to get Champions League from a new one. So for me, I always say, wait, let the manager play till the end, and then he's got an option for this. He's got an option whether we do the option because we've won a trophy, we've got Champions League, we've got in the top 3. Whether we do that option because we've got that, then fair enough. But it's down to the board, down to Polly, it's down to Mark if he wants to stay. And
Mark wants to stay. You've seen that video about him just something about burning and getting started, or some energy crap he was talking about. He just said he's just getting started. He wants to stay here for a long time to come. He actually has stated that, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did, and I think if we do get Champions League, he is going to stay. We're going to exercise that option, and it's for me. Yeah, I'm in the middle. I can see where both sides are coming from in terms of people that like Mark and people that don't like Mark. In terms of they don't like the style he's playing, they don't like what he's doing, and for me, it annoys me when he doesn't use his subs in the correct way, but he's keeping the same squad like Serena did in the Euros. He's keeping the same squad because why change a good squad if you don't need to? And he might change the wingers. He might change. He might change the midfield. He might change the forwards, but he always changes at least one of the wingers. Leah's always been kept in. And then it's always the other side if it's going to be Nikita or it's going to be Lucia. And the defence never gets changed. Hayley Ladd is now in permanently. Zelen, she's captain, she stays. Tuna, she's in. She's always in. Leah is more likely in. She's only just come back from an injury. She stays, but she came off because, like I said, she's only come back from an injury. Russo is our forward. She's our main forward, so she stays up front. And then it's deciding who are we playing. So right, we're playing Tottenham this weekend. Who's got the pace to get past Ashley Neville? Who's got the pace to get against Amy Turner? So it's gonna see how that impact is throughout the game, and only Mark and Martin will know about that. And us as fans have just got to go, okay, Mark's picked the squad. Let's see what we do. We're behind the team. Let's go for it. And whether you're behind the team and Mark, or whether you're just behind the team, then we're all one, because we're always going to be behind the team. Not everyone's going to be behind Mark, and that's fine. But for me, I want to wait till the end of the season to see what we do with Mark.
Yeah.
And for me, he's done a good job to get us where we are at the minute. He has done. And I think it's just frustrating in what he's doing in terms of the substitutions, the players he's getting in. Yeah, he's getting more players in for experience in terms of Rachel Williams, Jade Moore, players like that. And if it means that we get Champions League and this is the only way that Rachel Williams is going to play in Champions League, then fair enough. That's her dream. She just wants to play in Champions League. She wants that badge on the arm. She don't care about being on the bench. She's happy to come off the bench. She knows she's not a starter. She knows that she might start in the FA Cup, in the Conti Cup. She knows that. She knows her role. She's like a leader off pitch rather than on the pitch. And for me, I think we've spoke about it, haven't we? Like, we've got to surround this team with Honor, Russo, Toon, the youngsters coming up from the academy. We've got to build around that, and you can see that it's happening, but you can see that it's not happening, and it's a tough one because we're good. We play well. We do play well, but when things go wrong, when games don't go our way, when we get draws in which we should have won, we get frustrated with the manager, and then especially when he has these interviews after the game.
You know what, right? I only mean this semi-jokingly, but I don't think I could ever date a Brummy guy now. I think the accent just irritates the hell out of me. I just think of Mark Skinner. So I don't actually think that will ever happen. That's not his fault, to be fair. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have a go at your name, so apologies. Tawambla Piri, welcome. We need new tactics. The way I look at it, we did. The thing is, right? If we played all right against the top, Chelsea beat us pretty strongly, but not as bad as they used to. We played very well against City. We've beaten Arsenal at their own house, in their manner, as the Londoners would say. So it's a bit of a weird one. We are making it happen there, but he's so one-dimensional. If he comes across against, because you talk about third place, so I don't know the name of the person, but if we play Real Madrid in the qualifying, which is perfectly possible, that manager will run rings around Mark Skinner. If by some, because I believe we'd be lowly seeded because we've never been in there before as well. So if we got in the group, in the group stage, and we had to play I can see her face, but I can't remember the name. Leon's manager,
Sonia.
should just be like, mate, should just be like, honestly, it's like, should just play with him and just spit him out. Like, the problem is 4-2-3-1, he clearly thinks is some sort of like magical formula for a game. And the only way I can see that actually works out is because he does kill the game and he makes it very hard for anyone to score, the opposition or us, it kind of stabilizes the game. So maybe if we're under a lot of pressure, or if maybe he wants to get it stable to then try and like think clearly, it's quite a good tactic. But if you set up your opposing team against 4-2-3-1 well, I don't think he can pivot. I don't think he's got another idea. And I think this is where the problem comes into about what we're going to do, in the sense of, once he plays a top manager and they counter his formation properly, what is he going to do? He's got no answer. But yeah, I'll let you pick up with that. And I think you would, was it, which question was it? Was it Chloe? Was it this one?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, the other one is later.
Oh, sorry, Rob. You are spoiling us tonight, so I will have to. Oh, this is it. There we go. Oh, that's Ravi. I'll get there in the end. Was it Ravi? Was it this one? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that
one.
Yeah. I think for me, we are ready for Champions League, but we are a couple short of decent signings. Obviously, we've got Jada Riviera now as a fullback, but I do think we need another one. I do think we need at least two to cover both sides. But I also do think we need another striker, because obviously if Russo does go, we need one, definitely. But I do think we need at least one more to kind of challenge for that position, challenge for that start. And someone who has got experience in Champions League, I think we need as well. I know, obviously, we've not got many who've played in Champions League. We've got Mary Earps. We've got
Katie for Juve, was it?
Yeah, Katie for Juve. We've got Estelle Casirino now. Yeah. We've got, I think Lisa might have played.
You don't want to do it at Levante?
Honour's not, no. Yeah. I don't think so anyway.
No, I don't think so. No.
We've got Jade Moore because she did it for Atletico. We've got Tunkaru who did it at Atletico as well. So we have got that experience in terms of Champions League, but we need more. We need that striker who has experience, because, like I said, if Leslie does go, then we need two. We do need two strikers, and I think for me, that's got to be the main priority. We've got to focus on getting a striker, whether it's for a backup for Lesser or a potential challenge for Lesser, or whether it's a replacement for Lesser, because if we don't get a decent signing and we get in Champions League and Leslie still goes, then I don't know what we'll do without it.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is as well, I appreciate it was more the way it was done as well, but like, I love the fact that Stena Blackstenius was offered in a trade to us, and our fan base was like, nope, considering how desperately we wanted her, a few months ago. I know, it's just interesting how it works out. I mean, to be honest, I suppose in Skinner's defense or somebody's defense, like, there are a few things that he's done that, have been surprising. I think the whole fan base thought that Nikita Parris was going to bomb when she came to United, and she's actually done really well. Rachel Williams has actually done a lot better than I thought she was going to do. So he has the ability to Mia Letitia has obviously been a great signing. So, he has got the ability, but then he does things like buy Leon, and then looks like that due to an admin error, pretty much, we didn't let her go, and she might be out the door in summer, and she's not really had a fair crack of the whip. And then she says, he says, rather, sorry, I'm just trying to multitask at one thing there. He says, something that is borderline offensive, saying that, she's not ill, she's not in the squad because there's better people in the squad. I'm like, if I was Dree, I'd deck him. Like, what's going on there?
I know. When I saw that, I was like, what? Like, how can you say it's competitive? Yeah, we've got a competitive squad, but you've got three centre backs on the bench. You had Tunkara, you had Fort, and you also had Mannion, and it's like one of them could have been dropped for Dree to come on the bench.
For an attacking option, you've got three centre backs in a very stable defence. We discussed about the 4-2-3-1. It's boring because it doesn't really give you that attacking threat. It stabilises the match. So why'd you have defence? Why'd you have so much defence? Is this the one you wanted to pick up, Chloe?
Yeah, I thought it would be a good one for us both to pick up on.
I want to pivot to Spurs as well, but basically, if we don't mean Champions League, he's got to go. Yes, I think that's pretty clear. What I think is going to happen, and I don't like Skinner. There are more people that don't like him more than me, but it's not a very long line. If you put sort of on the far left-hand side people that love him and the far right-hand side people that hate him, I'm quite far to the right-hand side. I'm not all the way there, but I'm towards there. But I think because of the new ownership and because, we need to have a reputation in the industry that we aren't a chew them up and spit them out club, as much as it kills me, I think we need to exercise his option, and then kick him to the curb next year. Especially if we lose or Honor or Lessie, especially if we do a City and don't get through to the group stage. I think we need to keep on an option, and I think the skills he's shown and the improvement this year, if there is an improvement this year coming from the manager, is more to do with the fact that he's singing for his own supper than when he was like thinking he could just like chill out in the last season. Oh, I've just arrived, I can work shit out and all this kind of stuff. But what's your view on it?
I agree. I think for me, if we don't make Champions League, I think there's got to be a decision made. I think he's got to, probably the board have to have a chat with him and got to say, right, you didn't meet this, you didn't meet us this, you didn't get us this. And I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I do agree in terms that we do need to exercise his option. But whether or not it would be good for the club just because we're exercising it because we've got the option is another thing. Like I said before, I'm in the middle of Mark.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather him go at the end of the season and go now.
I don't think we can make him go now. As much as I don't like him, I don't think we can make him go now.
Well, we see it in the men's game, don't we? We see that they get sacked during the season, and for me, I just think like, especially if you've only like Leeds, for example, Leeds sacked their manager today. He's only been in the job for a year, and because they're in the relegation spot, they've sacked him. And for me, you've only been in a year, you've not been given that chance. And the same with Wigan's manager, Colo Toure. He was only in it for 59 days and he got sacked.
What I would say as well is I'd pick up with what Andy said. I agree with what Andrew's saying here. City lost half their best players. They don't win Champions League. We're never under him. I know this is more common in the men's game because of the larger squads, larger staff quotas. But when Skinner, I think Skinner and Martin Ho should be treated as a group now. So I think when Skinner goes, Martin Ho should go. I know he inherited him from Casey, because I think there's a lot of group thing going on with both of those two, and I don't know. I don't understand. I appreciate he's United through and through, but he came from Everton as well, didn't he?
I think for me, sometimes the backroom staff will go with a manager because the new manager will bring new ones in. So it all depends on what happens. But yeah, for me, it's we get Champions League and we keep him and exercise his option. We don't get Champions League, we exercise his option, the fans aren't happy. We don't get Champions League and he's gone and we start afresh. But he's only been in it 2 years, and are we giving him that time? We don't know what the objectives are for Mark Skinner, what his objectives were given to him when he signed that contract. We don't know if it was like, right, we want you to get Champions League in 3 years, in 2 years. We don't know if he's been given that task, because sometimes they are. And if that's truth and he says he gets it this year, he's met that objective, he deserves it. But if he's not and it's 3 years, so he's got that extra year where it's the option, then they have that right to exercise it, because they've set the task of, right, you've got 3 years, but we're only giving you a 2-year contract. If you don't get it in 2 years, we'll exercise your option. Try then. If you don't get it, then you're out the door. And I can see that happening. That's what I can see happening.
I think I'll make a point as well, because obviously, obviously I know you very well. We both know each other very well. The fact that Chloe is in the middle, right? Trust me on this. The fact that Chloe has got to a point where she's in the middle on Mark Skinner, that in itself requires an award. Because now I don't. That doesn't mean anything because she has a fantastic passion and will support the club fully. And I've made mistakes and let my own personal things get in the way sometimes. The fact that she's ended up in the middle is the biggest warning sign for Man United. Trust me. This is a person, trust me, who, I really honestly believe could work in football management, because when I'm like killing somebody after losing for 5 minutes and getting really angry, she can quite calmly talk about the game and think about the positives when I'm ready to metaphorically wring somebody's neck. So for Chloe to get to the point where she's in the middle of Skinner go, Skinner stay, that's not a million miles away from getting like a Labrador to be violent. Like literally, we are. You've gone quite far there, Skinner. Trust me on that. So honestly, I think that this is the thing. I mean, I agree as well. Just moving back to the Rosal. Sorry.
I think I deserve an award for that.
Yeah, you do. The draw was coming. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree with that. Yeah, this is what the problem is. You've heard about Toon's lack of form. She's knackered. She's not a robot. She's knackered. She's going to be even more knackered when she plays for England in the Arnold Clark. But I don't understand. Again, I don't understand what's going on there. But just focusing again onto Spurs again. Obviously, looking at the goal scorers yesterday. I mean, just a quick word on Beth England. I mean, she's really doing, from her perspective, she's really doing what she needs to do, doesn't she, to get back in that England squad? She's scoring all the time.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Bethany England. For me, since I started watching the women's game, when I seen her play, she's gone from not being a best to now being a player that is in with a chance to get back into that England squad. And whether that's because she was on the bench at Chelsea, they weren't using her at Chelsea, they weren't showing her potential at Chelsea, and now she's being played week in, week out for Tottenham, and she's being their star striker. For me, it shows. And if I'm not gonna lie, I wanted Bethany England at United. I could have seen her working with Russo in the forward line together, being in the forward, being our two strikers and working together. And I think it would have worked. I do think it would have done. And she's gone to Tottenham, and again, now they're building in strength again. Ash Neville, she's come back from injury. She's back. And for me, they're the two strongest players. Manny Imabuchi, on loan from Arsenal. Again, she's a strong player. Whether she starts or not, I don't know. I think she will. And then again, you've got a few players in defence. Like I said, Ash Neville, Drew Spence, and you've got them players that they are very tactical, but their star player, their warning sign, the player you've got to watch, the player to watch is Bethany England. She is out to get into that England squad, whether it's for the Arnold Clark Cup, whether it's for the World Cup. She's in that squad to get a place on that plane. And for me, if she's in the Arnold Clark squad tomorrow, she's done it. She deserves it, and she's been scoring. And that's what Serena likes. She wants forwards to score, and that's what she'll pick off. She wants players to play regular, week in, week out. And she knows players need a rest. She knows Tooney should have a rest, Russo should have a rest. And she's probably thinking in the back of her head, I can't start them in the next couple of games, because they've started, they've not come off the bench. And for me, that's the worry, because now you've not got your Ellen White, you've not got your Jill Scott. Russo's your number 9 now. She is the starter. But now you've got the chance to bring in Fran Kirby again, to bring in Bethany England again. And hopefully it will give a chance that Russo will have a break. She will be on a bench for maybe 1 or 2 of the games and come off the bench. For me, Bethany England is definitely one to watch on Sunday, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in my opinion, I hope she's in the squad tomorrow.
Yeah, the other one as well, because she scored yesterday as well, and I'd never heard of her previously, but I just looked at her stats. Nikola Karsvenka, she's a Polish forward, who has played 9 games and scored twice for Tottenham. She's also tall. She's 1.83 meters. So again, she's going to be that kind of player where you need to look at who scores, who's in form, and maybe we might be able to double mark Beth England, but let's not forget these other players. Your Japanese player that you mentioned, your Polish player that you mentioned as well. I think we are at their place, and obviously the issue would be about winning at their place, but we've done it against Arsenal. We can do it at their place. And obviously, looking on a positive scenario, then, at the end of the day, we've done it once, we can do it again. And what a great way to go into the international break if we can get that win. That's I think the important thing. So just going to look at the seconds as well against Andrew. So obviously just touching on England then, who would be the forwards for England?
I don't know if Andrew's meaning, would it be for England or would it be for who we're picking to come to United? But Bunny Shaw is Jamaican. She wouldn't be picked.
Yeah.
So whether, I think Frank Kirby's fit enough. Daly in England squad gets classed as a right back. So she gets classed as a defender sometimes, but she sometimes gets classed as a forward. So I would say Beth England, Lauren James, Ebony Salmon, Russo, and depending on if Frank Kirby's back, Frank Kirby, and obviously Daly, whether or not she's picked in the back line or the forward line. But yeah, Bunny Shaw is Jamaican. So she unfortunately will be in our squad.
Yeah, no, this is it. But I think I can definitely see, maybe because I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday and I'm going to be going on a coach with mostly people that like Skinner. So if we do draw or lose, pray for me, because I'm going to literally have to stick a sticker over my mouth for the 4-hour trip back. I can see a situation where we win, on Sunday, we bounce back and have a much better performance. And actually, I don't know if it's the sort of towards the end of the show talking, but I think that's actually a bit more likely than another performance similar to yesterday. I mean, what's your thoughts about it?
I think if we play the way we played against Liverpool, I'll pull it in that example because we won 6-0 in that one.
It is at the men's stadium, by the way, Andy. Yeah, thankfully they've actually done one thing right, and they've kept it in the men's stadium. That's why I think it's a bit later than Chelsea when they did theirs.
That's why I'm gutted I'm not going, because I want.
I'm gutted you're not going because I'm not no one to talk to for 8 hours.
I'm ticking off Premier League stadiums, so I'm gutted I can't go to it. But for me, I think if we play like we did when we won against Liverpool 6-0, then we can win this game. We can. We just can't let our standards drop. Mark needs to make substitutions. He does. Russo's knackered at some points. Tooney's knackered. You've got the likes of Katie Zellum getting knackered. Zellum deserves a break whether she's captain or not. She does deserve that.
And even taken off the subs. She doesn't even get like a 5 minutes towards the end. And most of the captains that happens to, I swear to God, it's going to scare of her or something. I don't know.
So hopefully some rotation might happen against Tottenham, whether it's Nikita Paris starts, Lucia doesn't, and we do it that way, and that's how it works. But we need to sort it out. We do need it, and I'll just touch on the question that I answered previously. If I had to choose any of them out to play for United, I would choose Bunny Shaw to come to United. But I would also choose Rachel Daly because she can play as a fullback as well as a forward. So they're the two that I would bring to United if we could. But yeah, so I think we need to win this game. We need to not drop points. We need to not concede, but they've got Bethany England. What else can I say?
Yeah, but they're also, if you look at the table, to look at it in a more positive light for United, if you look at the table, actually, you have to go pretty far down to see them. They're 9th, and they're actually only 1 point above Brighton, and they played one more game than Brighton. So again, on paper, but then obviously Everton are fifth. So on paper that should be an easier game, and I think everyone knows that playing them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, at their place, is going to be tough. But you were there. One of the best memories I had with you, excluding the Euros, was literally, and she can tell you this, but literally deafening her after one of the goals, and no, literally, I'm not even being dramatic, and obviously experiencing that, with the sort of was it 3-2 in the end, wasn't it? The 3-2 win in the end, that was really magical. So obviously score predictions then for the game. Difficult one, because obviously, as you say, with Beth England, she's scoring all the time. Even if Tottenham ends up losing the game, normally she scored at least one goal. So based on that, and against Queen Mary, who has a lot of clean sheets, it's like the unstoppable force and immovable object. What do you think the score could be on Sunday?
I'll point out that Queen Mary, obviously our Queen Mary Singing's number one. Got like Robert did point out in the comments, she got 50 clean sheets.
Yeah.
Whether it was the Everton game or the game before, I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, for me, I'd like her to keep a clean sheet record, but we're against Bethany England, and for me, I think I'm gonna go with 3-1 United.
3-1 United. I think that's going to be quite a popular one. I see Andrew's also gone for 3-1 United. I hope I see some goals. I forgot what to do. It was that long. That match lasted about 7 years. It was like I started visualizing. You see on YouTube, let's pretend we scored a goal. I was a little bit tempted, to be honest, at one point. You know what? I don't know if you've got it in us to do what we did with Arsenal if it was like a 3-2 win. And I think that would kill me. I'd say we've just gone a bit too defensive recently, so I'd not want one of those goals off. I'd say 2-1 United.
Yeah,
and I'd probably say, not that we were asking that question, but I'd probably say maybe a 1-1 and then a 2-1 United kind of scenario that could happen. Hey, you know what? You're looking at that. You're not one who's going to be in the stadium. I'll be in the state. Trust me on that. Any chance you play Martha Thomas up front? I mean, maybe we'll just slot this in as we are wrapping up. But Chloe's asked me a few questions about Martha Thomas because the best way to explain it, right? When you watch the match and you watch City doing a sub, or Arsenal doing a sub, or Chelsea doing a sub, normally it's, oh my God, insert Pioneers coming on. Oh, Blue, yeah. I can't imagine any opposition fan going, oh my God, Martha Thomas is warming up, she's coming on. And that's my concern for her as someone who would, as a striker. I don't think she puts any kind of fear into anybody. I don't know it. She's a great squad player, but not necessarily a starter. But if you want to answer his question, then we'll finish that.
Yeah, I'll answer the question. Yeah, and I know Andy's got his opinion and stuff, but for me, Russo's our striker. When Martha Thomas does come on, she's on the wing. She's never through the middle unless Russo does get taken off. But can I see them two playing together up front? I can't. I can't see them starting together. I can see it being brought on as subs. But yeah, Martha Thomas, she's a great squad player. She's this season especially is that she's not scoring goals, and I think that's a problem with a few people in terms of Martha. And I think it's more because she's playing on the wing. She's getting substituted to play on the wing instead of up front.
Right.
So she's crossing the ball in instead of being the one to run through the middle, be in the box like Russo's being. So I think she's not getting that off. She's playing alongside Russo, but not being the one to score. So if she was brought on for Russo, for example, to play through the middle, then you'd probably see a lot more of Martha Thomas trying to score and being in that forward position. So for me, I don't see them playing together or starting together, but I can see them, and we have seen them play together on the pitch when Martha Thomas has come off the bench.
Right. Okay. I'll have to draw that one to a close, because we could always go on for hours, especially when we get the inspiration from what's going on in the comments. And we appreciate everyone's time. Just before I throw back to Chloe for her socials, and thank you for coming on tonight. I mean, we said at the beginning, we'll say it again. It's your channel, Maisie. All we're doing is really pleased to be on it. You put your heart and soul into this channel. And obviously, we saw recently that you got 2,000 subscribers, which is, at least you deserve. Hopefully, the first of many more. And and obviously, you're one of our best friends, and you are a really nice person, and a great person to learn from, both in the men's and the women's game. Obviously, I'm a women's specialist, but Chloe touches on both. And obviously, you're having a break tonight, which is great. Hopefully, you've had a break, because I'm sure you're probably watching. Have a break. We're doing it. It's done now. It's fine. Nobody died apart from Skinner's ego. But anyway, and I look forward to speaking to Maisie offline as well. But yeah, Chloe, thanks for coming on. Have you just shout out your social?
Yeah, Maisie, congratulations on your 2K subscribers. If there's anyone new in the comments, please subscribe, and obviously like and watch her videos, because she deserves it. Like Andy touched on, she's one of our best friends. She's very knowledgeable. I've learned a lot more from her in terms of both the men's and women's football, and it's great to just be able to be given the opportunity for us both to work on a channel, to do podcasts on her behalf of the channel as well. And it's a pleasure as always. And again, Maisie, we do miss you. Can't wait to see you soon, and hope you're having a good rest. My social is Chloe Riley 14 on Twitter. And what's your socials, Andy?
Mine is at AJ_87 at the minute on Twitter. Always not backwards from going forwards. Happy to tweet most things that come on, but it is my personal channel, so it is not all just United, but there you go. But yeah, obviously Maisie will be back, and appreciate everyone's time, and hopefully for my sake, because trust me, I'm going to be tired, please win on Sunday. Please win on Sunday. Please win on Sunday.
Have a great time on Sunday, as I will be working, so I won't be able to watch the match. But yeah, enjoy it down south, and you'll have a good time. Hopefully they will win for you, and it's not as long as a journey back.
Oh, it's going to be fun. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.